Welcome to a brief video on how local communities participate and provide feedback throughout the Risk Map process. Risk Map is a FEMA program that provides communities with updated flood risk information and support with planning and outreach efforts. In Utah, the Risk Map process is coordinated by the Utah Division of Emergency Management, or DEM, which is a part of the Department of Public Safety. As a cooperating technical partner of FEMA, DEM works with highly qualified engineers, counties, and communities to create, update, and digitize flood risk maps and other information products. Each risk map flood risk project is tailored to the needs of each community and may involve different products and services. The risk map process is a multi-year flood hazard mapping effort, and it is critically important for communities to actively participate and provide local input and feedback when requested during each phase of the process. There are 8 phases that we'll touch on here, from project kickoff to finalizing and adopting the maps. We'll introduce the specific meetings and give a broad overview of the information requested from a community during each phase. Responding to the local information request and providing review at each phase is essential for incorporating your local data. If a community doesn't provide information during the early phases and instead only submits new information towards the end of the process, it may delay a project significantly and require work to be redone, and the community may have to cover the costs to incorporate that information. You can think of Risk Map and its process like baking a cake. We gather the ingredients, or in this case, the data and the information, then we mix them together by performing engineering analysis and data processing. Finally, we bake and decorate the cake, or in this case, we create the final package of flood risk products, the flood maps and flood study, for community adoption. At each step of the process, it builds on the work that was completed previously. We need your participation and input during every phase to ensure that the final product is what you're expecting. Nobody wants mystery cake, and you can't change the ingredients at the end when you're putting on the icing. If information and feedback isn't provided when requested during each phase of the process, it creates real serious problems. The first phases in the risk map process are base level engineering kickoff and discovery. The base level engineering, or BLE analysis, provides flood risk information for unmapped or inadequately mapped areas and can really help determine where current FEMA flood maps need to be updated. The discovery phase is key for collecting data from the community, reviewing base level engineering results, listening to community feedback, and documenting community needs. During this phase, we also discuss areas that need their flood studies redone or need greater detail about flood risk. It's really important during these early phases that we gather all the right ingredients from you. In this case, the ingredients are the specific community flood mapping needs and local data sources, because local information is vital to ensure that flood maps are as accurate as possible. Once a flood risk project is initiated, Utah Risk Map partners will move forward with preparing the data, maps, and flood risk products. At the Phase 2 kickoff meeting, you'll hear about the timeline and expectations for the project's next steps. You'll also hear details regarding the proposed engineering methodologies for the hydrologic and hydraulic, or we call it H&H, analysis that's used to develop flood studies and flood maps. Utah DEM will send communities letters after that meeting stating the engineering methodology selected for their flood study, and then the communities have a 30-day period to provide feedback and consult on the proposed methods. And if there's any concerns, you can discuss them at that point. If there are no concerns about the modeling approach, field survey will be initiated at that time. It's important for communities to provide feedback on local engineering standards, approaches, and expectations now before flood studies are underway and draft maps are released. During the next phase, hydrology, the first portion of the engineering analysis is completed, and at the end of this phase, the community will receive a hydrology report and supporting model data for review. Think of it as a chance to sample the cake fresh out of the oven. It's key for communities to review this hydrology information and provide feedback on the flow rates that will be used for the hydraulic modeling. If we don't have the right flow rate numbers and we get farther down the road and you want to change things, We'll have to go all the way back to this step, and that's often not feasible. Communities are given 30 days after the hydrology meeting to verify any data they provided is reflected and to provide comments on this draft hydrology information. Next, there's the hydraulics and flood risk review meeting, where the hydraulic modeling and resulting draft floodplain maps will be shared with the communities to review. At that time, local feedback will be requested. It's important to engage with everyone from your community and any engineering resources available to your community at this step. After this meeting, there's again a 30-day comment window on those draft products before work proceeds to turn them into official preliminary maps. For example, review and confirm that structures identified during the earlier field survey are captured and accurately portrayed in the mapping. Once the hydraulic modeling is finalized, the draft work maps and engineering information will be converted into those official flood insurance rate maps and the flood insurance study. Before the release of the official draft, or what we call the preliminary floodplain maps, a resiliency meeting is held with the communities to present the draft information first to community leadership and staff. This will include another review of the draft floodplain mapping shown at the flood risk meeting, which has been revised based on any comments received after that meeting. At the meeting, we'll also walk through the non-regulatory flood mapping products and review how they can be used for planning and flood mitigation purposes. Utah DEM will talk about the products the communities are receiving and how they can be used to increase community resiliency. When the preliminary flood insurance rate maps and flood insurance studies are officially released, Utah DEM will contact communities to set up a consultation meeting with elected officials and staff. This is referred to as a Consultation Coordination Officer or CCO meeting. It's held to give community officials and staff a first look at these preliminary products and to talk through and plan for public open houses to share this information with residents and the general public. Any changes in flood risk and the appeal process will be explained, and participants will have an opportunity to provide feedback on the products they've received. There will also be a chance to discuss flood risk products that are non-regulatory that were covered a bit at the resiliency meeting. After the CCO meeting, community officials are asked to move forward with holding open houses to share the draft preliminary flood insurance rate map and flood insurance study information with residents in the rest of their community. After that public notification process is completed and those open houses occur, a statutory 90-day appeal period opens for the public and residents of the community to submit any formal appeals. Community officials are responsible for collecting those public comments and appeals so they can review them as well, compile them, and submit them formally. After the 90-day appeal period closes, the maps will be rolled out to the community officially with a letter of final determination or LFD. A letter of final determination sets a 6-month window that establishes when the mapping products will take effect. During that 6-month window, the community is going to be required to adopt these new mapping products into their local floodplain regulations. It's important that that happens and that these new mapping products are adopted before the study effective date at the end of the 6-month window so that the community can avoid being suspended from the NFIP. Once effective, the new flood products are in force and are your official tools for managing development within the regulatory floodplain called the Special Flood Hazard Area. Your state floodplain manager and FEMA regional specialist will help with ordinance reviews, and the state has model language that can assist with updating these local regulations. At each phase in your community's risk map process, you'll receive detailed information from Utah DEM about what to expect and what you're expected to do. Your participation is essential to a successful flood study, providing high-quality maps and tools you can use to make informed decisions about reducing your community's risk from flooding only works if you participate and provide information when requested. For contact information and for additional resources and useful links, please visit the Utah DEM Risk Map website. Thank you for watching this video.